Joining us now at KOBO's Innovation Cafe is our own Kris Abel, and today we are talking about love between a cat and a ferret. Kris, explain.
Okay, so I went to a really cool video game competition to showcase all the awesome talent that's been showing up in Toronto lately. And one of the contestants is a company called Rocket 5 Studios, put together by Cathy Feraday Miller and her husband Tim. And the game that they're developing is called Kitty Disastrous, in which you are a cat in a human world causing all sorts of mayhem. Sometimes that chaos leads to good things, but a big focus is the relationship this cat has with a ferret.
Yeah, the cat thinks the ferret's the weirdest cat she's ever seen. And she's okay with that. Ferris, we thought he would be the ferret lover, this kind of suave, Pepe Le Pew kind of character. But now he's just an idiot, and it's really fun. Because he just slinks around, he's always falling off of things, and she's always having to rescue. I imagine her rolling her eyes. I think at one point I have her wipe her paw across her face after he falls into another trap. The thing with Kitty, though, because she's a cat, so she has no compelling desire to rescue her ferret friend. She often takes as much time as the player wants. So with our game, there's a lot of exploration and destruction, as there should be. Even the people that are like, I don't like cats, they're like, I love this game because cats are jerks. And then there's people that love cats and they're like, I love this game because I'm a cat. One girl came up to us and said, I've been waiting my whole life for a game that looks exactly like this where I get to be a cat. And I'm like, oh, okay. Mission accomplished.
Now, Cathy has an awesome background because before she got into video games, she was actually working in Hollywood on feature animated films.
So I started off as an animator, classical 2D animator where the only tool I had was basically a pencil. And I worked at DreamWorks doing feature animation for about 4 years in Los Angeles. Then friends of mine asked me to consider working at LucasArts, which is a very prestigious video game development company. I learned how to animate with computers by myself. And so I went from no computers ever to spending all my time every day on a computer. I mean, I hadn't really considered myself technical. And I remember talking to a woman, she wanted me to participate in her Women in STEM group. And I'm like, but I'm not in STEM. And she's like, yes, you are. Because I had thought STEM was scientists and people that work for NASA. So I talk to people all the time about technology, and fear of technology, and how you can't let that stop you. Technology can't hurt you at all. It can only help you. And so if you want to be an animator or a computer animator, or if you want to make video games, it's just another tool. You learn it, and then it becomes another pencil.
Another classic case of a woman with imposter syndrome. She thinks somebody's going to catch her out.
Yeah, I think we all go through that a little bit, yeah.
Now, you talked to a second video game company this week, The Last Sky. Now, they're marketing it as an emotive journey. What does that mean?
I think it means it's very beautiful. So this is a company called Little Big Guy Games, and I spoke to Tom Frencel, who's the CEO. I got to play the game, and it's a beautiful game in which you are going through different moments in a person's life that has to deal with being a pilot and airplanes. And I love how sometimes you walk through a door and suddenly you're a little boy going back and through his childhood. Here's Tom to tell you a little bit about the themes involved.
So the game deals with the moment of death as its primary theme, but it also deals with the other half of death, which is life and sort of overcoming the challenges of life that life kind of throws at you. Sometimes due to the poor decisions that you've made, and sometimes just due to randomness. He is, in fact, a pilot or joins the military to be able to fly. So there is a sort of emotional story arc to his life that you get to discover and experience. And then, something happens along the way where it's an event that is partially in his control and partially outside of his control that he experiences that destroys that dream, destroys that freedom, that connection to his soul through flight. And then, what happens after is sort of how he deals with that loss and how he reconciles the past is what the game deals with.
As you heard, Tom is not just a video game designer, but also a bit of a storyteller. So I asked him if he could share a favorite book.
I was excited when you asked me that question because one of the books that I recently completed, it was a phenomenal read. It's a book by Sophy Burnham, and it's called The Art of Intuition. What she's exploring in this book is sort of the development of the other side, which is the intuitive side, the natural side. It's about unifying those two sides in this kind of perfect yin-yang balance of your intuitive side and your rational side. Having read a ton of books on a variety of different topics from history to philosophy to psychology, this one stands right up there with some of the best books that I've read.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Well, you always find good stories.
Oh, thank you.
Well, thanks so much for joining us.
Cool. See you next week.
What is your favorite story? Find it at KOBO.com.
KOBO makes it easier to access the stories you love and discover new ones in an instant. Over 5 million eBooks, a personalized reading experience, and points earned with every purchase. Visit KOBO.com today and open up.